Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Keith one-time Thurman. As you guys know, that the date is drawing near for these guys to get it on, and Keith had a lot of things to say. He promised Manny Pacquiao that he is the new Manny Pacquiao, and he tells Manny, basically, in a nutshell, you better stop me. And he also feels that if it wasn't for his last fight, this fight wouldn't have been made. And because he looked vulnerable, that's why Freddie Roach jumped to this opportunity, simply because they knew that Keith one-time Thurman could be hurt. And if he could be hurt by a fighter like Josecito Lopez, imagine Manny Pacquiao in there. So this fight was easily made. I couldn't agree more. I think that when Freddie Roach seen the performance of Keith one-time Thurman against Lopez, I think he knew, okay, this is low-hanging fruit. This is the fight that we need to take now. The ring rust has set Keith Thurman back a bit. It has put him in a situation where, he once already peaked as a fighter, and now he's going downhill. Now, Keith Thurman had a lot to say about that. He said at the end of the day, who cares? Because he just showed that he has the heart of a champion. He shows that, like, hey, if you drop me, you drop me. If you want to fight, let's fight. But I will be victorious. And if he said, now this is fun, this is the thing I want to point out. Keith Thurman said, if I lose, I will still have the most exciting fights. I think I'm the most exciting fighter. He said that Spence and Garcia didn't live up to the hype. He said when he fought Sean Porter, it was a fighter of the year. When he fought Danny Garcia, that was a tremendous fight. So now he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao. He's going to make it a tremendous fight. Now, the thing is, when an undefeated fighter, to me counterpunching this, guys, when an undefeated fighter mentions, well, if I lose, I lose. If they mention lost, that shows that there's some type of psychological comfort and reality in knowing, hey, this fight I could lose. That's why I don't really like to talk about losses, especially right before a fight. Because I know Floyd Mayweather has mentioned this before, but he never really mentioned it in terms of, hey, this fight I could lose, or this fight if I lose. You know what I'm saying? It's hardly ever times that he mentioned that. So it's just strange to hear Keith one-time Thurman say these type of things. However, Keith, it does have a weapon. It is his mouthpiece. That's one thing that he can do. He can recreate words. He can use words as weapons. And let me explain some of the things that he said about Manny Pacquiao. He says, Manny Pacquiao crucify taunt explains as Keith Thurman gets biblical once again with his trash talk. Okay, this is a weapon that I want to talk to you guys about that Keith Thurman's been doing with the T-Rex arms, with the bunny rabbit taunts. They're saying that Manny Pacquiao moves around like a bunny rabbit. Now he said, I wanted to stab him a bit with controversial comments, says the unbeaten American. He says he compares the Filipino fighter, the Filipinos fighter return to Jesus. He says Christ was resurrected, but not to walk this world again. Yeah, he said in that segment that pissed off Manny Pacquiao's team. Manny Pacquiao said they're going to let this be fuel for their training, and he says, Keith Thurman, they said he seemingly had that plan the whole time because, as we all know, that Manny Pacquiao is a spiritual man. He is a godly man, and that's his doctrine, the word of God. And he compared himself to Jesus and told him, hey, Jesus was resurrected, but it wasn't to walk this world again. So he was comparing him like, hey, you might have been resurrected, but that means you're not going to walk through the welterweight division, not when I'm around. So in essence, he's saying that he's the Undertaker. He's saying he's the reality of men that'll be after to try to crucify him again. You know what I mean? Keith Thurman also went on to say, this is my fight. He's fighting for my belt. And yet it's as if the world has forgot. So I wanted to stab him a little bit, of course, where it hurt. Okay. So of course, where he was saying that, he was referring again to the biblical comments, right? Because if he didn't feel it, his family felt it. The 30-year-old added, when I said I was going to crucify the man, they said, it's almost as if they had a crown of thorns on their head themselves. Wow. Now we all know that Jesus Christ was resurrected, but not to walk the world again. He was a spirit. He gave messages. He gives guidance. He is forever loved. And Manny Pacquiao, when he retires, he too will be forever loved. Meaning he's going to beat Manny Pacquiao into retirement. That means he's going to be out of the physical state into a spiritual one. Wow, what the hell is going on here? Okay. Little gnat got in here. But anyway, Keith One Time Thurman is actually using his mouthpiece to benefit his fight. Because one thing you can do is piss off a fighter. It kind of puts me in the mind of when Bernard Hopkins was fighting Felix Trinidad. Felix Trinidad, is a pretty humble guy. He's nobody's bitch. He's a tough fighter, right? And he was undefeated. Okay. Bernard Hopkins knew one thing I can do to piss him off. You're coming to my division and you're challenging me, right? Kind of like Manny's challenging Keith Thurman for his Super WBA title. And Hopkins was like, okay, I'm going to stop that. It ain't going to be everybody praising Trinidad. It ain't going to be, people looking, well, how are you going to beat Bernard Hopkins? Or really, should I say how Bernard Hopkins is going to beat Felix Trinidad? It's going to be simple. I'm going to make him mad. I'm going to piss him off. So he threw the Puerto Rican flag down in Puerto Rico, and he meant to do that for a reason. He wanted to get up under Felix Trinidad's skin, and he did that because Trinidad came in there mad, and I think that affected his performance because all Trinidad could do was knock his head off. That's the worst thing you could ever do. That's the worst thing you could ever do is all you can focus on is what you want to do to the opponent instead of realizing what that opponent can do to you. Okay? You have to have caution to the win. This is boxing. This is not a one-sided fight, Not a, this is a duo. You know what I'm saying? So this is give and take, not just give. So what Keith Thurman is doing is quite brilliant. I think that he knows what he's doing. He's always had a mouthpiece. He's always been charismatic. He's always had a voice, and he's using that voice as fuel for the fire, okay? That could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. But I'm not sure, guys. You guys tell me, is it a good thing what Keith Thurman did? Is it getting under Manny Pacquiao's skin a little bit as the fight draws closer? You guys let me know. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.